You think a survival tool means safety, that if it's in your bug-out bag, on your belt, or sitting in your emergency kit, you're ready. But what if I told you some of the most popular crisis tools are silent liabilities designed more for marketing than survival? They snap, they leak, they fail when you need them most. And the danger? You won't know until the moment it matters. A fire starter that fizzles in the rain, a multi-tool that breaks under stress, a flashlight that dies in the dark. For anyone prepping for a real crisis, grid down, natural disaster, or urban chaos, this isn't just inconvenient, it's deadly. Today, we're exposing 7 survival tools you need to avoid at all costs and revealing 3 battle-tested backups that actually earn their place in your kit. Because in a real crisis, you don't get a second chance to fix a bad tool. When disaster hits, there's no refund, no replacement, no second try. The tools you trust need to work the first time. But too many crisis gadgets are built for sales, not survival. So today, we're breaking down 7 popular tools you should never trust in an emergency and showing you 3 that could actually save your life when the lights go out. If you're serious about real-world prepping, hit that subscribe button now and stay one step ahead of the tools that lie. Number 7. No-brand multi-tool from online marketplaces. You've seen the ads. A sleek-looking tool that folds, twists, and does it all: screwdriver, pliers, saw, can opener. All in one pocket-sized gadget. And for $12.99 with 500 plus 5-star reviews, it feels like a steal. But in a real crisis, that no-name multi-tool might cost you far more than your money. Because here's what they don't tell you. Most generic multi-tools sold online use ultra-low-grade stainless steel, soft, untempered, and prone to bending or snapping under pressure. The pliers misalign, the knife dulls in days, the hinges wobble, and if the internal spring gives out mid-use, you're left with a pocket of useless metal when you needed real function. And during an emergency, fixing a shelter, opening a food can, tightening gear that's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. In 2021, Reddit's Preppers thread documented dozens of failures from these tools under basic use. Snapped screwdrivers, broken knife blades, and springs that jammed shut after 2 or 3 uses, some even rusted, still inside their packaging. Here's the kicker: you won't know it's junk until it fails. And when you're cold, wet, or injured, that's not when you want to discover your gear is fake. Real survival multi-tools cost more for a reason. They're forged from high-carbon or heat-treated steel, with locking mechanisms that don't quit and components that can handle real-world torque. Trusted options? Look toward Leatherman, Gerber, or Victorinox brands that have been tested in the field, not just advertised in flashy TikToks. Because in a blackout, earthquake, or bug-out scenario, you don't need 20 tools in one. You need one tool that doesn't fail. Number 6, plastic flashlight. It's the first thing people pack. A flashlight, compact, cheap, supposedly reliable. But the moment the power goes out, when your entire world goes dark, that $5 plastic torch could betray you in seconds. Here's the hard truth. Most budget emergency flashlights are made with brittle plastic, low-quality LEDs, and battery compartments that corrode faster than they charge. They're built for the checkout aisle, not the crisis. In blackout conditions, your flashlight isn't just for comfort, it's your eyes, your protection, your first line of control when panic sets in. But cheap flashlights flicker, drain batteries fast, and break after a single drop. Worse, plastic body designs are often not weather-sealed. One splash of rain, one dust storm, one fall onto concrete, and you're plunged back into darkness. In a 2022 FEMA-sponsored field test, over 30 affordable flashlight models were tested in simulated blackout scenarios. More than 60% failed after basic water exposure or impact from shoulder height. And it gets worse. Some no-brand flashlights use outdated battery designs, prone to leaking or even swelling and exploding in heat. Imagine grabbing your flashlight mid-emergency, only to find the batteries fused inside, oozing acid. Don't wait for disaster to find out your light was just a toy. The real solution? Look for IPX-rated aluminum-body tactical flashlights, waterproof, impact-tested, and equipped with rechargeable lithium-ion cells. Bonus if they include solar charging panels or hand crank backup. Brands like Fenix, Olight, or ThruNite build their flashlights for war zones, not glove compartments. Because when the grid goes down, it's not just about seeing in the dark, it's about not becoming a target inside it. Number 5, mini butane street ove with no wind protection. It looks compact, lightweight, easy to pack, and quick to light. But the moment you need a flame to boil water, cook food, or stay warm, your mini butane stove can become a cold, silent liability. Why? Because most cheap butane stoves, especially the pocket-sized ones, are designed without wind shielding. And in the real world, not your living room, the outdoors never sits still. The tiniest gust? Your flame dies. A sudden breeze? Your pot cools. And in an actual crisis, cold weather, no power, hungry family, that half-cooked meal becomes a health hazard. Survivalists and campers alike have reported how these stoves struggle to stay lit, even in mild wind conditions. In some reviews, people noted the fuel wasted trying to relight over and over, burning through cartridges while getting nothing done. And if you're counting on it for sterilizing water, one failed boil is all it takes for bacteria to win and your gut to lose. Even worse, butane performs poorly in cold weather. Below 30 Fahrenheit, pressure drops and your mini stove might not light at all. So unless you're indoors and warm, which you won't be in a blackout or bug out, you're packing dead weight. Real crisis-ready stoves have integrated windshields, isobutane, propane fuel blends, and wide bases for pot stability. Some even include built-in igniters with flame adjustability. Look for models like the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe or Jetboil Zip, field-tested, storm-resilient, and trusted by mountaineers. Because when you need fire to survive, you can't afford to fight the wind. Number 4. Budget Tactical Pen. It looks solid, sleek, heavy in the hand. A tactical pen ready to write, defend, and break glass if you ever need it. But here's the truth, they don't tell you. Most budget tactical pens are props, not tools. Marketed as self-defense weapons and survival essentials, they promise rugged durability, sharp tips, and emergency readiness. But the second you apply pressure, real pressure, they crack. Made from thin aluminum or zinc alloys, these pens often have hollow bodies, weak threading, and plastic caps disguised as steel. They look good in photos. That's it. Try striking a car window or using it in a real self-defense situation, and the weak joints rattle, bend, or outright snap. And when your life depends on that strike, failure isn't just frustrating. It's deadly. Reddit threads and survival forums are full of horror stories. Pens that bent on first contact, shattered tips, broken ink cartridges exploding under force. In 2022, an independent YouTube gear reviewer tested 10 popular budget tactical pens under glass-breaking and impact conditions. Only 2 survived the test. The rest either jammed, broke in half, or failed to puncture standard tempered glass. And if you're over 50, slower reflexes, weaker grip, you're even more dependent on gear that works the first time. Budget pens can also injure you during use. With poorly machined edges and tips that slip, they put your fingers and wrists at risk in high-stress situations. Want to avoid this trap? Go with real full-metal construction pens from proven names, Benchmade, Smith & Wesson, or Uzi Tactical. Look for reinforced barrels, carbide tips for glass breaking, and pen tips that actually write under pressure, even upside down or in wet conditions. Because in a real-life emergency, you won't have time to test your pen. It either works or it doesn't. And when seconds matter, a toy disguised as a weapon is worse than carrying nothing at all. So ask yourself, are you carrying protection or a promise that shatters under stress? Number 3. Off-brand water filter straw. It looks simple, lightweight, a must-have for bug-out bags and emergency kits. Just uncap it, sip from a stream, and survive. But when the water's murky, the grid's down, and your life depends on what you swallow, that off-brand water filter straw might be your biggest threat. Most no-name filter straws sold in bulk or rebranded on online marketplaces are untested. No lab certification, no medical-grade membrane. Just marketing fluff and plastic tubing. They claim to remove 99.99% of bacteria. But what they don't say is how long that protection lasts, or if it was ever tested at all. In independent tests by survival instructors in 2022, dozens of cheap filter straws failed to remove common contaminants like Giardia, Cryptosporidium, and E. coli. Some degraded after only a few uses. Others clogged or broke under light pressure. And in a crisis, when your only water source is a ditch, puddle, or flood runoff, maybe it works, is not good enough. Drink from the wrong straw, and within hours you could face diarrhea, vomiting, dehydration, and kidney stress, the last thing you want when there's no hospital, no power, and no clean backup. And here's the worst part. You won't taste the danger. You won't see the bacteria. But it's there. Trusted filter brands like Sawyer, LifeStraw, and HydroBlue undergo third-party testing, meet EPA standards, and clearly list flow rate, lifespan, and micron rating. They're built with hollow fiber membranes and backflush systems to extend use and ensure performance even in the dirtiest conditions. Cheap ones? No warranty, no science, just false hope in a sealed bag. So ask yourself in a real crisis, when your body needs clean water more than anything, do you really want to trust your life to something that costs $3.49 on clearance? Number 2. Folding survival shovel. It folds, it chops, it saws, it opens bottles, at least, that's what the ads say. But when you're digging a fire pit, clearing debris, or trying to carve out shelter after a storm, that folding survival shovel might become a liability with a handle. Here's the problem. Most multi-purpose tactical shovels on the market are over-designed and underbuilt. They promise 15 tools in one but deliver 0 you can truly trust. The screw-on handle extensions? They loosen with every turn. The thin, hollow tubing bends under pressure. The hinge that folds the shovel head? That's your weak point and it fails fast. In a survival scenario, you don't have time for wobbly tools. You need strength, stability, precision. But these Swiss Army shovels of the survival world trade durability for gimmicks. Compass in the handle? It breaks. Hidden fire starter? It's soaked. Saw edge? Dull and useless after the first root. In 2023, bushcraft testers put 12 of these folding shovels through stress tests, trenching, digging, chopping. 9 out of 12 suffered bent shafts, cracked hinges, or total thread failure within the first 30 minutes. And if you're relying on that shovel to dig out of snow, ash, or collapsed debris, one snap joint, and you're stuck. Literally. The better option? A compact fixed-head entrenching tool with a reinforced carbon steel blade and solid handle. Look for military-grade options like the USGI Trifold or Cold Steel Special Forces shovel, proven, tested, and trusted in real combat and field conditions. Because in an emergency, you don't need a bottle opener on your shovel. You need a tool that won't fail when your life's on the line. Number 1. Basic duct tape rolls. It's the first thing people throw into their survival kits. Duct tape, trusted, cheap, supposedly unbreakable. But here's what they don't tell you. That roll sitting in your drawer could be dead weight in a real crisis. Most people assume duct tape lasts forever. That you can patch a tent, seal a tarp, or even splint an injury if needed. But basic duct tape, especially the kind sold at dollar stores or in multi-packs, breaks down faster than you think. It dries out. The adhesive weakens. The fabric tears. And worst of all, it stops sticking when you need it most. In cold weather, it stiffens. In heat, it melts. Add moisture or dust, and that universal fix peels right off. Field testers in 2023 compared 15 brands in simulated survival scenarios. Only 4 held up under temperature, swings, moisture, and time. The rest, useless in under 30 seconds. That tarp you tried to seal, flaps open. That gear you bundled, falls apart. That quick fix you needed, gone. And here's the kicker. You won't see the failure coming. You won't hear the adhesive giving out, but it's there, waiting. If duct tape is part of your emergency plan, go pro or go without. Industrial grade, reinforced fiber tape like 3M, T-Rex, or Gorilla Tape holds under tension, temperature, and time. Because when the wind's howling and your only shelter is a few tarps and your tape, you don't want to be staring at flapping edges and a roll that quit before you did. You've just seen how some of the most trusted tools, the ones sitting in millions of homes, can fall apart when everything's on the line. But the good news? Not everything is built to fail. A handful of survival tools have been field tested, pressure tested, and trusted by real responders, not just influencers. And the next one could quietly save your life. If this opened your eyes even a little, hit subscribe right now because we're just getting started. At number 2, Full Tang Fixed Blade Knife. It doesn't fold, it doesn't flash, and it doesn't win style points. But when everything else breaks down, your multi-tool snaps, your gear tears, your shelter collapses, a Full Tang Fixed Blade Knife will still be in your hand, ready. This tool isn't about convenience, it's about survival. And here's what makes it different. Full Tang means the blade extends all the way through the handle, one continuous piece of steel. That's strength. That's balance. That's unshakable. Most tactical knives on the market are flashy, hollow, handled, partially tang, gimmick-laced blades with sawbacks and bottle openers. But put them to work in a real survival scenario? They fail fast. They bend under prying, snap under pressure, twist in your hand. A fixed blade? It holds, it carves, it defends, it survives. In countless disaster reports and wilderness rescues, a strong knife has been the dividing line between life and loss. Cutting rope, processing wood, field dressing food, first aid, even self-defense. And when fine motor tools are frozen or missing, a solid blade becomes your hands. The best part? Full-tang fixed blades aren't even expensive. Knives like the Maracniv Companion, Gerber Strongarm, or Ka Bar Becker offer high-carbon steel, rubberized grips, and trusted durability all under $100. And they've been carried by military, search and rescue, and bushcraft veterans for decades. Keep one on your belt. Know its feel. Trust its edge. Because in a crisis, when your back's against the wall and your gear is scattered, sometimes the blade in your hand is the only backup you've got. And if you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most. Stick around. The next tool might outlast you. At number 2, full-tang fixed blade knife. It doesn't fold, it doesn't flash, and it doesn't win style points. But when everything else breaks down, your multi-tool snaps, your gear tears, your shelter collapses, a full-tang fixed blade knife will still be in your hand, ready. This tool isn't about convenience. It's about survival. And here's what makes it different. Full-tang means the blade extends all the way through the handle, one continuous piece of steel. That's strength. That's balance. That's unshakable. Most tactical knives on the market are flashy, hollow, handled, partially tang, gimmick-laced blades with sawbacks and bottle openers. But put them to work in a real survival scenario? They fail fast. They bend under prying, snap under pressure, twist in your hand. A fixed blade? It holds, it carves, it defends, it survives. In countless disaster reports and wilderness rescues, a strong knife has been the dividing line between life and loss. Cutting rope, processing wood, field dressing food, first aid, even self-defense. And when fine motor tools are frozen or missing, a solid blade becomes your hands. The best part? Full-tang fixed blades aren't even expensive. Knives like the Maracniv Companion, Gerber Strongarm, or Ka Bar Becker offer high-carbon steel, rubberized grips, and trusted durability all under $100. And they've been carried by military, search and rescue, and bushcraft veterans for decades. Keep one on your belt, know its feel, trust its edge. Because in a crisis, when your back's against the wall and your gear is scattered, sometimes the blade in your hand is the only backup you've got. And if you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most. Stick around. The next tool might outlast you. You've made it this far, and that means you already know something most people don't. The truth is, survival isn't about gear shelves or viral hacks. It's not about what's trending on prepper blogs or getting slapped with tactical labels. It's about what works when your home is cold, your phone is dead, and no help is coming. You've seen the tools that pretend, the duct tape that dries out, the filters that lie, the blades that snap when you need them to hold. And now you've seen the tools that stand firm, the ones built to last when the fake stuff fails. That's the difference between a checklist and real readiness. Because when crisis hits, you won't get a warning. You'll get 10 seconds. And in that moment, what's in your hands, what you packed, what you trusted could decide everything. So don't let your survival plan be built on illusions. If this gave you clarity, if even one tool you thought was safe now looks different, hit that like button and tell the algorithm this message matters. Subscribe because we're just getting started. More tools, more lies, more truths. Share this with someone you love because they're probably trusting the wrong gear too. Your bag doesn't have to be a trap. Your plan doesn't have to be a lie. You just need to know what to trust. And now, you do.